Omega level. Omega
level.
No other being has ever had the might, nay the nobility.
Hey, how's it going? It's your boy Jersh Manhunter. Make sure you check out our social medias, Instagram, Omega_level_podcast, and at Facebook, Omega Level Podcast. Anywhere you can listen to podcasts, you can find us at Omega Level Podcast. Man, that's a lot of podcasts, but here we go. Anchor, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, sure, that's a thing, and all of the other ones. Thanks for listening.
Welcome back to Omega Level. I'm Fat Skinny Nick. Over here's your boy Jersh Manhunter.
Whoa, whoa!
Holding the microphone in his lap today, just making it super uncomfortable and awkward for himself.
Actually, I thought it was more comfortable than what we're doing because our chairs suck.
Okay, first off, do not disparage these wooden hard chairs. They're so good.
How long have we been doing this and we still just complain about the chairs? We
Yeah,
forget. A week goes by and we forget, and then we get in
we
here
need
and we're
cushions or different chairs. We don't do it, then complain again.
and then complain the next week.
God, it's like we're society.
Oh, man, I know, right?
Just complain about stuff that can be changed and don't change it. Complaining's easier.
Global warming, am I right? I don't know. I got nothing.
If we just took a bunch of ice and dumped it out there in the Antarctic, we'd solve all the problems.
Man, we'd be square. We'd be
We'd
square.
be all right. There's a reason ice trays exist. It was
Thank you.
It was a long game here.
Yes. Why do you think there's so many freezers? That's why
They foresaw this.
Yeah. Come on.
Why do you think there's so many freezers?
Jeez.
So on this episode of a Mega Level movie cast,
Whoa.
we're going to talk.
Don't
Yeah, I don't
know.
like it
I
either.
hate it. Don't know.
On this movie edition of a Mega Level podcast.
Nah, it's still bad. Do it again.
That's still bad. On a Mega Level Cinecast. That one's not bad.
We'll do it.
Makes it sound ultra pretentious. A Mega Level pretentious
Yeah.
cast.
And then you hear us talk and you're like, oh, these guys.
like, oh,
Really?
They're fucking morons. I thought they were pretentious and they like Avengers. Ew.
That's what I'm saying. They're reviewing Point Blank.
Comic
Spoilers.
books? Please, those child things.
Welcome to Omega Level.
Those picture books with colors in them? Ugh, no.
Picture books. Ooh-wee. I love me some good pictures.
But yeah, this week we're going to talk about the Netflix original movie Point Blank.
Blank Point.
Blank Point, which is the sequel to the early 90s movie Blank Check with the Wayans brothers.
Wow.
Do you remember that movie?
Wow.
Dude, I
Yeah.
fucking
Nice.
love that
Nice.
movie.
Nice.
I
Nice
love that
connection
movie.
there. Okay.
Or not
I
Blank Check. I'm sorry, Blank Man.
I
Blank
thought
Man.
they did a good job making it connect with that.
With Blank Man.
Having the ability to intertwine two great stories. No,
It's actually the origins of them, and you won't really get that until you watch the movie.
yep, and at the very end, after credit scene, blew my mind.
Yeah, Blank Man shows up, dude, and he's with Thanos. It's nuts.
It was nuts. I didn't even
Nerds.
realize the Infinity Gauntlet existed in Point Blank's universe, but now we know.
It definitely does.
Also, Unbreakable and Glass are a part of that. M. Night Shyamalan came in and made some crazy twists.
What a twist!
Yep.
They were all on the moon the whole time.
You know
It
it's
was
not a
nuts.
twist? He butchered Avatar. Okay, let's go. Let's continue.
No, actually, I think that was a twist.
That was-
I'm gonna make Avatar, but guess what? It's gonna suck. I'm not gonna do anything of this.
I'm
That's close to the
gonna
truth.
kill this fandom. They're gonna hate me.
It was like he looked at all the fandoms and he was like, I don't like Avatar.
Yeah, that's basically
I'm
what
gonna
he
make
was
it
saying.
that
That's
one.
what he was. That's what he did. He said this and was like, it has a pretty strong fan base. Let's butcher this.
He watched like 3 episodes. He's like, I don't like this show.
I want to make it so this movie is never aired again. Like they don't want to make another Avatar movie. But luckily Netflix was like, we trust you, but we're gonna do a TV show.
That's pretty dope.
It's gonna be interesting. I want to see what they're gonna change.
I don't know, man. It's crazy to me that they're doing an Avatar live action TV show instead of like trying to make another story or continue part of the story since they're getting the original creators. It's kind of weird. Like it's cool, but it's
Yeah.
weird.
It is weird.
It's gonna be especially weird for me having most likely just watched both of the series not long before the live action comes out, and it's like I've seen most of this already.
That's why I mean they're gonna change some stuff. You can't do certain
They have
things
to.
in live action that
They have
they've done
to.
in that.
I mean, unless they're Gus Van Sant when he remade Psycho, he remade it shot for shot, scene for scene.
I mean, there's just some stuff that unless Netflix gives that budget for some CGI, man, that's just not happening.
oh, I'm sure.
It's not happening. We can't, have
It's got to have a good
artificial
budget.
bending.
There's no way. It has to have a really good budget.
I would think.
Has
The
to.
first picture looked nice, but it's a distant shot, so it's hard to tell.
I haven't even seen it.
It was just the.
Is it Aang?
I'm assuming it's there, probably in the beginning in the South Pole, and it's where Aang's with Appa walking across ice.
I totally know
You can
these
barely
people are.
tell.
Mhm.
It's the bison and the main character.
The bison?
Yeah,
Like it's the actual
he's got
animal?
a flying bison. Yeah,
Flying bison? That's dope.
yeah. It's a mix between a manatee and a bison. Yep.
What a weird mix.
Well, usually most of the animals in the universe are mixes. Like they're mixed creatures. There's platypus bears, stuff like that. And then there's just a bear, and they make a big deal about it. They're like, "Oh, what kind of bear is it? A platypus bear? Is it this bear?" And he's like, "No, it's just a bear. This place is weird.
Just a bear. Oh, I'm out
That's
of here.
Bosco, man. That's Bosco.
I'm out of here.
Earth King Bear. Woo woo.
But yeah, so we're going to talk about the movie Point Blank. It stars Anthony Mackie and Frank Grillo reuniting from the MCU. If those names sound familiar to you, it is because Anthony Mackie plays, almost called him Captain Falcon.
Dude.
Almost said
that
Captain
is correct.
Falcon.
That is correct.
He plays
it's not wrong.
Falcon, a.k.a. the new Captain America
Whoop, whoop.
in the MCU. And Frank Grillo was Crossbones, Rumlow. He was Agent Rumlow of S.H.I.E.L.D., a.k.a. Hydra, spoilers. And then he becomes Crossbones in Civil War. He's in... Is it Civil War? Yeah, he's in the opening of that movie when Captain America and all them fight them when they're trying to steal the the vial of virus or whatever it was.
And not to be confused with Jason Derulo. That is, the trumpets, the song? No, I was hoping.
Leave. I'm doing this by myself.
Okay, we're done. I'll see you guys later.
We are done.
Point Blank, pretty good movie.
Animal.
Animal.
That's the whole podcast every time. This movie, pretty good. All right, thanks for listening.
But for what it was, I was shocked. Only an hour and 27 minutes.
They're very short.
I was like, whoa, okay. I don't even remember the last time I've seen a movie this short.
Yeah,
That's
no
not
kidding.
animated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, what? But it hit its point. You know, I had some issues with plot-wise, and some things felt rushed, but I felt like the pacing overall was amazing.
Yeah, it was
Like,
good pacing overall.
There was no dull moment.
Mhm.
Like, it might not be something that you were that fascinated with, but there was no dull moment. Everything was, like, I guess, integral to the story itself.
Yeah, they kept the pacing very tight. Like, I
Yes.
liked that. Like,
Yes.
I think it was a really good job of editing down the story into what needed to be there for us to understand the story.
Yep.
It didn't meander. It wasn't Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It
Yeah.
packed everything in like it
Agreed.
needed to.
Finally, thank you.
In retrospect of thinking about that movie ever since I've watched my...
Hey, this isn't that podcast, okay?
No, it's not, but my grade has gone down a decent bit. I probably get like an 8 now.
Wow.
Because it's just like, I don't know, man. When I think about it, the biggest takeaway I get was cool ending, and I loved Sharon.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I was like, that's really all I took from it. No, I mean,
Leo and Brad were great,
performances overall,
Yeah.
excellent. Like,
Yes,
excellent
yes,
ensemble.
yes, yes.
I loved Sharon's scenes because it was just joyous and happy. And the ending was really cool, the way Tarantino like changed history. It's like, that's my takeaway. Is like,
And while Leo was killing his story was kind of like, I
yeah,
don't care about a failed
kind of
actor.
boring. His best parts were when he was doing that TV show with the little girl.
Absolutely.
That was hysterical. And then when he threatens to kill himself because he can't remember his lines.
No more drinking. If you don't get your lines, I'm going to shoot.
You gotta stop doing this. But anyways, Point Blank does not meander like that whatsoever. It is very, very cohesive
Yes.
in its story. Like, even if it's like Josh said, if it's not something that you're really into when you watch it, it does not, like, it's not going to take you long to get through it because they don't spend time on stuff that's not important to the story.
Yeah, yeah.
Everything you need.
And I'm not a big fan of car chases in
No, I'm
general.
not
I
really
think they
either.
were good in this movie.
Yeah.
They did what they needed to do. I'm kind of over car chases.
They were kind of minimal in this movie, too.
Yes.
Like, they didn't go on very long when
not
they
very
happened.
long. But
Thank
they had
God.
like 2 or 3.
Yeah, but they were pretty short scenes.
Yes.
Thankfully.
Big D was amazing.
The Big D
Dude,
crushed
oh
it, bro.
my God.
Crushed it. I love
And
them.
of course, they did the whole typical thing where the first big guy comes out, and you're like,
Yeah,
"Oh, man,
it's Big D."
And
And
then
this
they have a
little dude.
little dude come up behind him, and
Yeah.
he's like, "No, I'm Big D." That guy killed it. He needed more screen time.
I love that
That's
whole
amazing.
interaction with Big D. He gives him the money or whatever, and then he gives him the drive. He's like, why didn't you open with that? You could have saved us all
this
bunch of time and trouble right here.
But you had your guns out. He's like, "Man, you had your fake grenade."
He had a fake grenade. I love that when he pulled that off and they all freaked out.
And then Big D was like, "Man, y'all need to calm down." Over here freaking out and shit. He was the one that had the biggest reaction.
yeah. Oh, man. So this story follows Anthony Mackie's character, who is a nurse, and he works at a hospital, and he ends up... That's actually a really terrible
Honestly,
way to
wrong.
explain it. What
Yeah.
I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about something. It's a really fucking awful way to explain what the plot of the movie is.
It's a guy that's in a bad situation. Wrong
Yeah.
place, wrong time.
Yeah.
Had nothing to do with anything that's been going on because we start out from the jump opening. Somebody does a shooting. House. Awesome shot, too. I
Yeah,
thought
it was
that,
very
I thought that was
cool.
pretty
I liked
cool. The
it.
sound worked very well. From the jump, you see a guy running, and that's
Frank Grillo's character.
Frank
Frank Grillo, yep.
Frank Grillo's character coming out, and he's apparently has been wounded.
Yeah.
Walking out, and there's 2 other masked men trying to shoot at him. And of course, he's trying to contact somebody. His driver, Christian Cook, amazing performance in this
Mateo.
movie. Mateo.
Yeah, he was so good.
Yeah, he was really good. Very minor, unfortunately.
I wouldn't say very minor, but yeah.
I mean,
compared
not
to
for
the leads,
story.
very minor.
Yeah, I was about to say not for the story, but
super
for screen
important.
time. No, he was.
Yeah.
He's definitely best performance in this movie.
Oh, for sure.
But we have from the jump like something's going down. He's
Yeah.
calling his driver, get here, and you have cuts between him trying to dodge bullets,
Yeah,
hide
yeah,
behind
right.
trees,
And the driver trying to get to him.
driver trying to get to him, and well, they met at the right intersection. It's just
They met at the wrong time.
wrong time.
I love when he calls them and he was like, blah, blah, blah. He's like, I'm on the way. 2 minutes. He goes, 30 seconds. And just hangs up. He's like, this is all you got. We got to go.
We gotta go.
30 seconds. But yeah, they get to the intersection. And as the driver is getting up to where he is, Frank Grillo's like, he's behind Frank Grillo.
Yeah.
And Frank Grillo's running across the intersection and gets crushed by a car.
Gets crushed.
It came out of nowhere. I did not expect it. I was like, oh my God, dude.
Yeah, and then title card.
Yeah, then title card, point blank. Like, all right, well, we're off to the races in this movie.
Point blank,
Holy
that dude's
shit.
dead.
So we don't know at this point what's going on. It seemed like he was trying to rob somebody or something, but then you, like, just directly after this, you see a bunch of cops in the house and or detectives, and they're talking about that the guy that was killed was the DA. He was the district attorney, and a thumb drive was stolen that has like all this important information on it for like
all these corrupt cops.
all these corrupt cops and informants and all this different stuff. And you see two main agents. One is an older man and another one is a woman. And the woman is Marcia Gay Harden.
She shows up a little late.
Yeah, she comes into it and they try to like tell her to go home, whatever. Just like with all due respect, don't ever fucking talk to me like that again. But Marcia
She's
Gay
like,
Harden
not
is
hysterical, but she's obviously had a relationship.
very upset.
Yes,
Yeah.
very upset because she had some sort of connection with this man.
And she even says too, like he was one of the good ones. He was like the only good person in the DA's office, and now he's dead. So like they're very torn up. Apparently it was like corruption runs deep in the police force over here.
You don't know how high I can fly.
But Marcia Gay Harden, the actress, if you see this movie and you kind of recognize her, she was in The Mist. The movie The Mist.
Who is she in The Mist?
She's the mother that's in the sewer that's an asshole the whole time.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, she fits the character well.
Yeah. Marcia Gay Harden, yeah, she's a very prolific actress. I really like her. It took me a second when she was on screen. I kept looking. I was like, who the fuck is this? I know that. I had to pause and look. I was like, oh, it's Marcia Gay Harden.
Funny, the only
Oh,
one I
shit.
remember, Thomas Jane, obviously the main character, the main actor in Mist.
In Mist,
The
yeah.
Mist.
Mhm.
And Carol.
Carol from Walking Dead, was she in that?
She's the one that's left, remember? She walked out into the mist. They're like, don't do that.
Oh,
and then at
was
the
that
very
her?
end,
Damn.
when they did the whole, bang, bang, bang in the
Yeah.
car, and they drive by, she's on the car with her fucking daughter. Yeah. If they would have left with her, everyone would have fucking survived then.
I didn't even realize
Yeah.
that. I've been
That
seeing it-
whole time. And
I've
if they
only
would have
seen it
waited a
once.
couple more seconds, too, they wouldn't have had to
Well,
fucking do what they did. Not going to spoil the mist for you guys, but
Yeah.
woo.
I've only seen it once, and it was when it first came out on
It's
DVD.
really good.
It's a
Steven was
great
all
movie.
about that movie.
It's a great movie,
But
dude.
Steven's stupid.
It's one of the most bleak, brutal endings I've ever seen.
Yeah. And Stephen King actually liked that ending more
More
than
than his.
book.
Yep. Yeah. And it's one of Thomas Jane's best performances. It might be his best performance. He's been fantastic in that movie.
He's really good in Hung. But I mean, that's not
Hung,
really,
the TV show?
Yeah, that's not really.
I think I watched like 5 seasons of that before I finally gave up. Like,
he
it's
was-
good.
Was he
I
the
was just
Punisher?
like,
Or no, what am I mixing?
he's Punisher
He was
in the first one.
in the first
Well,
one. Okay.
not first, but the first one after Dolph Lundgren.
Yep. After the okay.
The one that John Travolta's the villain in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, John, man, it's been a while since I've seen that movie.
That movie has such an awful fight, final fight scene between the two of them. It is so terrible.
Oh God, really?
Have you not seen it?
I don't know.
Has
I've
it been
seen
that
it. I just
long?
don't remember
Dude,
it. I
It was
just don't
very
remember
uninspired. Very uninspired.
Oof.
Especially for Punisher. Come on.
Oof.
But yeah. So at this point, everyone take a shot.
But
Another one now. At this point in the movie, now we realize, okay, so Frank Grillo's character broke into the DA's house and murdered him and stole something, and that's why those people were shooting at him. But it's kind of weird that they had masks on. So like, was he part of a group that were doing this, and then he betrayed them, or they betrayed him? Like,
yeah,
we don't
was
know.
he not supposed to kill him?
Yeah, was he
Something
not supposed
that?
to? Like,
Yep.
did it go wrong? Like, we don't know. After that point is when we meet Anthony Mackie, who's a nurse, and he is a nurse at the hospital that Frank Grillo has to get taken to because he was shot and then hit by a car.
Yeah.
So he's in bad shape.
Well, because you get a little bit of when Anthony Mackie, when you get introduced to him, you get to see his family side,
His home life,
Yep,
yep.
his home life. His beautiful, lovely wife. She's apparently not
Preg-
listening to
Yeah,
him
she's
and not
pregnant and
resting.
not
Yeah,
listening.
she's
Yeah.
3 weeks due in 3 weeks, and she's like, "No, I got to get things done."
like trying to
she's
paint
in
the
there
room and
painting
stuff.
the room. She's
Yeah.
like, "What are you trying to in here?" Oh God, what was the painting he said? I know he
I
called her
don't remember.
Michelangelo, but I can't remember what. Sistine Chapel.
Is that what he said?
Yeah, you're trying to paint that. And she's like, no. He's like, you need to rest. I will paint this.
Yeah.
I'll get this. And we don't want you going into labor like your baby,
Yeah.
So you see that sweet side. You see his connection. You see you got a baby on the way. They already know it's a boy.
And they have like a really good marriage.
They have
You
a
can
really
tell,
good
like,
marriage.
They're
She
very
worries
good
about
together.
him. He worries about her. she keeps like, I'm my doctor husband, and he's like, I'm not a doctor, and she's of course having the faith of like, you will be one day.
You will be.
But
You'll
what
get
if he
there.
wants to be a nurse, man? You know
Who
what?
cares? That's fine.
That's what I'm
What
saying.
if he doesn't want to go to 4 more years of school?
That's what I'm saying, man.
What if he's learned enough already?
He's like, I'm getting by. I'm getting by. But you see, he has a steady job, good family, doesn't seem to have too much outside of life troubles.
Well, yeah.
Goes back to work, obviously gets a call, goes to work. I like the nurse too, even though she was very minor in it.
Oh, yeah, she was funny.
She like lists off, as soon as he gets, what do we got? And he's like, this, and this, and this, and then there's an unknown patient. He's kind
John
of cute
Doe.
too.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, oh, really? He's like, he's single? I don't know. Ask him for me. Lo and behold, they don't know that dude's a criminal.
Yeah, they don't know that is Frank Grillo's character, whose name, for some reason, I cannot remember in the movie. What his name was.
Mateo, Paul's Anthony Mackie.
Okay. I don't remember that either.
Shit, what
I'm
was
really
his
bad with
name?
character
Wow, I
names.
just watched this last night.
Yeah.
We're gonna meander here.
Percy, that's what it was.
Was it Percy?
No.
Okay.
I'm not even close.
Dude,
That's
I was-
way off.
I was like,
But man, Percy, what a pick.
Shit, what is
Yeah, I have no idea.
I don't want to look it up. What is it?
I'm gonna look it up. Dude,
You know we're going Percy.
Dude. We're going Percy. He's actually Percy
His name
Jackson's.
is now Karen.
He's Percy Jackson's grandfather.
It's Karen.
It's Karen.
Uh,
Everyone's name is Karen when we can't pronounce it or can't remember it. Name's Karen. Sorry for you.
Paul and
So his character name was
Francesca.
Yes, man. How did you remember
I
that?
don't know.
Abe.
I don't think they said his name.
They do. His brother says it. I think he's the only one that says it.
Okay.
So
'Cause
yeah,
he never
Abe.
gave- yeah, because I was about to say they never told each other's names. Like,
Yeah, Abe, Mateo, Paul, and the wife's name was Taryn.
Huh.
And then the detectives were Lieutenant Lewis, who is Marcia Gay Harden's character, and then Masterson is the one that's with her, the older one. That they have a history together. We find out in the movie.
Yeah.
When he says that,
Yeah,
we have a history, and she goes, "Oh, you mean like sleeping together for 4 years and living together?" It's like, yeah, we have a history.
fucking on and off.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, we'll just call that a quote unquote history. Thanks, guy.
But he obviously go check on the
John Doe patient.
the unknown patient, and
Man, there's
he's
a
in
lot
there.
of people named John Doe in the hospital.
A lot of
How do
people.
they not get them all
It's crazy.
confused? I don't get it.
John Doe 1,
John
John Doe
Doe
2, John Dodo, John
I
Dodo.
was about to say that. John Dodo. How about that John Dodo?
You got John Dodo.
It's pretty much.
But he comes in obviously joking because the guy's unconscious.
Yeah.
So he comes in, you have this, and this wrong with you, and this, and this wrong with you, and he's like, thank goodness you're unconscious, so you try to hate me.
Yeah. He's like,
you're
how was
not
your
gonna
day?
like this
He's
next
like,
part.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, he turns around and grabs something out of his bag, and then he turns back and he notices a person.
Well, he
in the
notices
room.
the window is open because like the
I didn't think
the
he
thing is
noticed the
blowing.
window.
Oh,
I noticed the window.
I noticed that
I didn't
first,
think that
and
he
then the
noticed-
person.
Yeah, I noticed the window. But
Yeah.
I don't think Paul knew the window.
Oh, he
was
just saw
open.
the guy?
Yeah, because he turned around and then looked up and was like, what the fuck? And immediately gets attacked.
Yeah,
Starts
there's
getting
just
his
some
shit
dude.
beat in. Just getting waxed. Just getting beat up,
Dude,
getting
yeah,
beat up.
getting smashed.
Yes.
He's getting his ass whipped.
And then that guy took his access card, took the bag, I think, some
Yeah, the
sort of
Frank
bag in
Grillo-
there.
or
Not the
Abe's
medical
bag.
Abe's bag.
Yeah.
And then dumped out of the window. My question is how does that...
How did he live?
My guess is, my first guess when I watched this, that was the driver.
Yeah, that was Mateo.
And it was
100%.
revealed that it was Mateo.
When you're first watching it, yeah, that's
When
what
you
I
first
thought
I knew
too.
immediately.
I was like,
okay,
oh, that's
that's
gotta be the driver, right?
How does he know what room that his brother's in?
He may have just said, hey, he may have come in and be like, hey, well, I'm looking for somebody and I can't find them. Do you have any John Does here?
Okay, so off screen. And then
maybe.
you got to take into consideration for this movie that a lot of stuff happens off screen.
Very much so.
Because some people do things that you're like, oh, well, I don't know how he'd know to do that, or
Yeah.
how she'd know how to go
I mean,
there.
they
or
could have a
stuff like
scene explaining that, but then again, it's like, it's not really necessary.
That's not necessary.
Yeah.
It's just for us viewers to be realized, okay, let's assume that it happened off screen.
Yeah.
They talked about
I
it.
don't need
that's-
everything painted
Yeah.
out for me.
But sometimes when it comes with stuff like that, I feel like there needs to be a little logic thrown towards the screen.
Yeah, for sure.
'Cause I'm
Like,
like,
maybe he
like,
should-
The question
someone
I
should
just asked,
mention
like,
it.
He just knows to climb up that building, jump out. Like, come on, like,
Someone should just mention it or something like how he knew or whatever.
Yeah, but of course, the detective that we seen in the first scene was there questioning him,
Yeah.
saying something, like, "Hey,
Questioning Paul.
that's a great description you gave of him."
Mhm, yeah.
Apparently, he moneyed it.
And she seems very nice.
Yep, because they took off his mask too, so Paul saw his face,
That's right. Yeah, he did. That's right. I forgot about that. Yep.
and they never see for the whole movie. They never see each other.
No, they don't see each other again after that. That's
Mateo
true.
and Paul
Yeah, that's
never
very
see
true.
each other for the rest of that movie.
He
Nope.
sees Paul once
Well,
more, but Paul don't see
you're
him.
Right. Never mind.
Paul don't
Shit.
see him.
Yep, he did. Never mind. You're
Yeah.
right. That was a very emotional scene too.
Yeah.
Grillo could have done a better job. I thought he was okay in that moment.
Oh, no, I meant before that. Like, not long after this, when he breaks into Paul's house. Paul doesn't see him, but he sees
I was
Paul.
about to say, never mind. Paul doesn't. Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then later on, he sees Mateo, but Mateo don't see Paul.
Wow, huh?
Yeah.
Nice little thing now.
So it's the one time that he sees Mateo's face is when he's getting the shit beat out of him, and he barely sees it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never really realized that until right now. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And they have so much interaction throughout the movie after this too.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Talking and stuff like that. Yeah.
So yeah, he's Paul's out there with the detective, and the detective is questioning him because he was in the room with the John Doe who's a criminal, not wanted. He's captured.
Yeah.
And someone came in there and beat up Paul, most likely wanting to kill and or break out Mateo. So the police are trying to figure out what's going on. And he tells her like his wife's pregnant and stuff like that, and that she's due soon. And the Lieutenant Lewis seems very like understanding and very nice,
very aloof.
Yeah, and aloof
She's
throughout this whole thing. And then he was like, "Yeah, got any advice on like his pregnant wife?" And she says one of the best lines. She's like, "Well, speaking as somebody who intentionally never had children, I'm probably not the best to give you advice."
Yeah, in a way, that's actually a very rude thing to ask.
Yeah.
Just because she's a woman, you just assume.
Yeah,
like,
got any advice? And she's like,
you know
no,
what I mean?
I don't have kids and I never wanted them.
Yeah,
so no.
like-
My advice would have been to have never done this.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And then after this,
Don't do it.
yeah, she gets up and like she leaves to go find like go back to his room or whatever. And Paul's sitting there, and then the funny nurse is like, "You need to go home." He's like, "No, I'm fine." She goes, "Honey, he's got the shit beat out of you. You look terrible.
Yeah,
You need to go home."
You need to go home.
So
They
he
were
does.
talking about bringing, the cops. Lewis was talking about bringing the cops and questioning him. He's like, just question me here. Damn, my
Oh yeah,
wife's
that's
pregnant.
right.
Stop trying to stress
that's
her
right.
out. Like,
That's
we
how
don't
she
need
finds
this.
out that his wife's pregnant. And she's like, we'll have some cops come by your house later on and ask some more questions. And he's like, can we not just do it here? My wife's pregnant. I want to stress
And
her
see,
out
that's
more.
what killed me is the next scene. Some of the little bit of the issues with like how people think. I don't know. People probably in real life do this, but I think it's weird. Think it's weird to. So he comes back home and he tells like they're kissing. He's like, "Oh, you're in here." Like she was doing something else. I don't know if she was painting again or she was doing something.
I think she was just laying on the floor in that room again.
Okay. Well, he comes in and they're getting sweet, kissing, and then she's like, "Hey, what happened to your face?" Oh, I got in a little fight. Somebody, broke in the hospital, blah, blah, blah. And she's, worried, like she should
for
be.
sure.
And she's like, "You can't be doing that."
He's like, I didn't. He beat me up.
I was like,
It wasn't my choice.
I'm intentionally doing it. Of course I don't want to do this. Like,
I actually saw the guy let him break in, then went and tried to beat him up.
yeah, I went hard. I was like, let's do this, dude.
Falcon
Like,
got his
that
ass
stuff
whooped.
that stuff doesn't make any sense to me. I was like, you can't be doing this. Yes, I know that I shouldn't be fighting.
Yeah, believe me, it wasn't my choice.
It
I
wasn't
didn't
my
try.
choice. I was jumped, so of course that another nice family scene. Seeing their nice then she was really good. I really liked her.
I liked her
what I mean?
too.
They didn't need the role to do much except like especially when.
But she
towards
did
the
a
end,
lot
She was
with
killing
it.
it. She did a lot with
It's
it.
very good. Yeah, especially
I didn't think that she was going to be a focal point. I mean, I knew because once the story kicked in, he's doing that sweet stuff. I guess we'll do this before I jump into that. Sweet scene. He's like, I'm going to go get us some ice cream. Why don't you get on the couch? Let's watch a movie together.
And he like, helps her up, too,
puts her in the chair, and he walks out. Well, seconds after he walks out, he's walking in there, and it does like I think it goes from the feet to the head shot, and then you notice there's somebody behind him wearing the same mask, and you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah, he broke into his house.
Boom! One hit,
Yeah, and
falls
then he
down.
hits him in the back of the head with his gun, I guess, or
Yep.
something, and knocked Paul out.
Yep, and then goes in after his wife.
Mm-hmm.
And you hear screaming. My first thought was like, don't kill the baby! Don't kill the baby!
I thought he was going to kill her, and I was like, oh my God, this guy's ruthless.
Dude,
Oh, shit.
I was like, man, this movie is getting torn.
yeah, this is dork as hell.
Which is weird because it's something I've also touched on. I said to you last night is I loved every song choice in this movie. Every song was a good song. But I didn't think it fit
Didn't
the
always fit.
scenes. It didn't
Yeah.
always fit the scenes because this could have been a way serious movie.
No, it could have been very serious.
like no funny at all, like no comedy, like dead, just boom, straight to the point. Like,
Yep.
And I don't know if that would have made it better. I mean, it's still a good movie. I enjoyed the hell out of this movie.
I did too.
Or if it would have made it worse, like if it was too
If
serious.
it took itself too
'Cause
seriously,
yeah, if it
it's
took
like,
itself too seriously, it could have been like, you would have really had to make sure those plot holes weren't.
Yeah, oh,
Real-
for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, oh, for sure. I liked that it had a little bit of like a comedic edge kind of to it. Like, there's not a lot of comedy in it.
Not
but
a
there
lot,
is some,
but there
and it's
is
done well when it's done. Especially with Big D. Like, he's the source of most of the comedy, and he's
Dude,
hilarious.
Wow.
He's awesome.
When he's talking about, he's like, how many kids? Paul's like, how many kids you have?
He's
8.
eight.
He's like, 8? Damn. He's like, man, I was never good at pulling out a parking space.
Yeah. I was like, oh, right. Maybe you should stop doing that.
Yeah.
But then, so Paul gets knocked out, and he wakes up, and there's a phone, 2 phones actually in front of him. It's like his phone and a different
And
phone.
then a different phone.
Yeah. And the different phone is ringing, and he picks it up, and it's the guy that broke into his house, and he's like, you're a nurse at the hospital. You're going to get my brother out of the fucking hospital right now, or I'm going to kill your wife.
He's like, what? And then you hear gunshots.
Yeah, and he's like,
His
okay,
wife's
okay,
screaming.
I'll
He's
do
like,
it, I'll
"Okay."
do it.
It's very easy to get a person to do what you want when you have their significant other on
Yeah.
the other side.
Who is carrying their child.
Who is carrying their child.
Very, very, very easy to get them to do what you want.
Wow.
So then Paul's, of course, like, he's like, okay, fuck, I'll do it.
So now he's roped into a situation. This dude's just
Yeah.
working his 9 to 5,
I
waiting
thought
for
it
his
was
kid to be born.
really dumb at first that the guy on the phone just immediately revealed that the guy in the hospital is his brother.
Yep.
But then as the movie went on, it kind of made sense.
It makes
Mateo's
sense.
not that smart.
I think you think
He's
something
something
wrong
off
mentally.
about. Yeah, I think something might be off about him. Yeah, I think he might have
clear-
some kind of disability.
He also didn't have like a very he was raised by his brother. That was
Yeah.
revealed in this.
Yeah.
His parents, his mom got his brother's words, Abe's words. My dad used to beat the living shit out of my mother,
Yeah, and then him too.
which makes my stomach just sink.
Yeah, it's awful.
I'm like, fuck, dude. I mean, it happens. It's so
Yeah,
God,
it does
it's just
happen,
fucking
unfortunately.
awful. And then some people can't get out of it. They're just
Yeah.
like, fuck, this is life. And it's like, damn, dude.
Yep.
Damn.
It's shitty, man.
But of course, and he's like, they beat me, beat my mom, and it only got worse when my brother was born.
Yep.
One day, my mom finally got tired of getting the shit beat out of him, so she shot him. And then did they say she shot herself? Shot him and then
She shot him and went to prison.
Oh, she went to died in prison.
Died in prison. Yeah, I think she went to prison, died in prison, and then
But he never revealed an age of when
this happened.
this happened. So I'm assuming that I would say brother's probably about 5 or 6.
Yeah, but then he said he raised Mateo ever since. So yeah, I'm assuming he's kind of younger.
Yep.
Yeah. And Abe seems like he's
So I
probably
doubt he
10
went to
years
school.
older.
I doubt he went to school.
Yeah, probably never did.
Probably
They
never
probably just
actually had a
lived on the
formal
lam.
education. Probably lived
Yep.
as, I guess, criminals. They had to. You know, I mean, in a situation like that,
I mean, didn't have to, but yeah.
they didn't have to be
It's the
criminals.
easiest route, I guess.
Yeah, it's the easiest route.
Not necessarily easiest,
I
but the
don't know
most
what-
accessible route.
The most accessible route.
Yeah.
I don't know what their. I mean, we know their home life. It wasn't
They
good.
could have been put in
so I'm
foster
assuming
care
they
and
weren't
shit, and
around.
that could have been awful too.
That could've been
Like,
awful,
man,
too. Never been separated. They're like, well, they'll take the younger one, but the older one has
Yep.
to go. It's
Sometimes
like,
it happens.
That
Yeah.
shit happens.
it sucks. Not sometimes, happens a lot. Yeah.
That's why you see the older ones at the foster homes, man.
Mhm.
It's sad.
It's like nobody wants to
Nobody
take
wants
him
a
in.
17-year-old.
It's like, really? Yeah, 1 year with him.
You got worse. You got through all the bad times.
Yeah. So you get him at 17. They're already pretty smart. Hopefully.
Yeah. Or they're
Hopefully.
dark as shit because they've been in there the whole
Yeah.
life. Good
Or they're
Lord.
17 years growing up. 17
Like
years old.
nobody's
and they're
wanted
doing this
me. It's like, yeah, wouldn't you feel that way?
Yeah,
you know,
I would
that's
too.
kind of
Pissed.
something like. And so
Yeah.
Abe is very close to him, and he shows in this movie that he doesn't care about anything. And of course, Paul put him on blast for that.
He's the only
He's
thing
like,
he
oh,
cares
you
about
care
his
about your brother?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh shit, you got a point.
He's like, yeah, this is true. This is true.
This is true.
So yeah, he tells Paul to go get his brother. So Paul breaks into He goes back to the hospital, and it's actually really smart how he does everything to get him out too. We see him go to like
He almost
not
got caught
ER,
off
but like
that
the
was a
like an
great
EMT area.
man. That was the best shot of the movie. I
What?
think that was the best camera work right there. At least the coolest camera work that they had.
What was?
When he's putting all the medicine in the bag right before he goes into the room, and it's just a spinning camera.
Oh yeah,
And it's
yeah,
just
yeah.
going
yeah.
left to right at the good speed. And you see him for a second, then once it gets to the other side, Mackie's able to go left to right again, and then it goes to the other side, and it's just one big rotating camera.
It's
while he's
timed
doing
very
all that
well.
stuff exactly,
Yeah.
very timed well. And you got to make sure that you're
Very timed well.
Don't judge me.
Yoda, he is.
I speak fast. I am. Speak fast. I do.
That was an awesome camera shot. I do remember that now that you're saying that. Yeah, man, the timing for that was. Whew.
Yeah. Interesting to see if they got it on first try. You know, you gotta hope that
please.
the actor comes in and hits those parts as well. 'Cause
Oh,
I don't
yeah,
know if
sure.
they touched it because it was boom, boom, camera moves, boom, boom, camera moves 4 times. That was 4 movements.
Probably did it about 100 times. Mackie, you're going too fast.
If Kubrick was there, it'd probably be 250.
Yeah, at least. Like, dude, we've gotten it perfect the last 150. He's like, no.
Did I
we
say it was
haven't.
perfect?
Yeah. We're still a millisecond over in time. I'm done. I quit.
You're a fucking set piece. What? Who talks to people like that? I'm a human.
You're a
You
set
are
piece
nothing.
that speaks.
I am a god.
Yeah. God, I didn't know Kubrick was still alive.
I am.
That was a
the
great impression.
Reincarnation.
Reincarnated in you. Yeah. God, you should hear Josh.
Don't you roll your eyes.
You should hear Josh off podcast, man. Everything's got to be perfect. He's terrible. He's terrible.
All right, we're gonna do this podcast again.
Restart after
Restart.
30 minutes almost. So then he goes into the hospital to get him out and have that amazing shot. He goes into like an EMT kind of room and he's getting all this stuff. And then he goes into back into Abe's room and he doesn't realize at first when he walks in that there's a police officer in the room in the corner, like on
Just
guard.
texting.
And he's like, what are you doing? And it kind of freaks me. He goes, oh, shit. And he's like, oh, my God. He's like, I got to take him down for imaging and tests and stuff. And he's like, really? And he's like, look, man, I just do what they tell me, basically. And so he starts, like, unhooking everything, and he hooks up a heart monitor, like, that's on the
It's life support.
the life support that's on the bed.
Mhm.
And he's like, what is that? And he goes, life support. And he's like, he hasn't needed it before. He's like, yeah, well, if he flatlines from here down to the imaging, it's my ass, not yours. And the cop's like, yeah, fair enough. Good
Well,
point.
wherever he
Good
goes,
point.
I go.
Yeah, and the cop's like, wherever he goes, I go. And he's like, yeah, suit yourself. So then he grabs all this stuff, and he grabs a defib machine as well and puts it on there. And it's smart what he's telling him, so it makes sense
Which
why
trailer
he's grabbing
spoils
this
that?
stuff. Huh?
Which
yeah,
the
it
trailer
totally
spoiled
does.
that.
So then he goes and takes him out, and they get into an elevator. While they're in the elevator, Paul unhooks the life support when the police officer isn't like looking because he's on his phone.
The cops also question him too because he's like, "Isn't that down?" It says it when it goes down. When the
Oh, yeah,
when they're
it's
going
true.
down each
Yeah,
floor,
yeah.
it says the thing. It says, "Isn't that where it is?" He's like, "Oh, it's different for this."
He's like, it's a different elevator. We have to go here to get to another elevator. And Paul's like really short with him too.
Yeah.
Like he's like, oh, this guy's just in my way.
like I got shit to do. I have a wife to save.
Yeah,
I
Raw.
got a baby to save.
So then he unhooks him, and he starts freaking out, and the cop's like, what's going on? He's like, oh my God, he's flatlining. Give me the defib. And he's like, what? The box underneath it. Give it to me. So he uses the paddles, and he's like, the defib underneath. Give it to me. And the cop brings it up, puts it on the bed, and Anthony Mackie starts it and then shocks the cop with it. And he's
boom.
Like, sorry, guy. Then he handcuffs him to the stretcher, I think, or maybe
I'm assuming
to
one
the
of
bar in
the bar in the elevator.
Takes his gun, and then
He's like, I'm sorry, officer.
yeah, sorry, man. And then he gives Abe a shot of, like, I guess adrenaline to wake him up.
He's like, wakey, wakey.
And he wakes up. He's like, okay, you're in the hospital. And he's like, you're in a lot of pain, but calm down right now. He's like, your brother sent me to get you. And as soon as he says that, Abe jumps up and
Starts
puts him against the
choking
wall and starts choking him. He's like,
man,
stop,
I'm just trying to save my wife.
He's like, I'm trying to save my wife. And that's when, like, Abe's starting to become cognizant, and he's probably realizing, fuck,
Well,
Mateo.
he said kid.
He's like, Mateo.
He said kid too, and that's the only thing
He's
he
like, he's trying to
responded
save my wife and kid, and he's probably like, fuck, Mateo did something bad. Oh, God. And he's like, all right, well, come on, we got to go. So then they get out, and they get in the parking garage. One of the funniest parts to me was Abe's like, I'm driving. And Paul's like, no, you're not. He goes, yes, I am.
And
it's like,
before that, he
bro,
gave
you
him a
just
mix.
woke up.
Yeah, and he gave him a mix of two different things. I
Yeah.
don't know what the first one was, but the
Tramadol
second one
or
was
something?
And
Morphine, yeah.
And there's a certain mix you got to have.
Yep.
So he's on this stuff. He's like, and here comes the good stuff.
Yeah.
And now he wasn't drive on this? Like,
Yeah.
what? What?
I mean, it's just enough to, like, ease his pain, but he just
It's morphine.
woke up from being in, like, an induced coma, and now he wants to drive a car. If I was Paul, I'm like, absolutely not. I don't care.
Well, what choice are you going to have?
No.
You're not going to have
happening.
any choice, though.
You're not driving, bro. I'm shooting
know,
the leg,
but
and you can't
he's-
drive. You're still alive.
Anthony Mack has never pulled a gun. Paul a bitch.
So then after this, they go on this little joyride, and
Mm-hmm.
the police see the detectives are at the hospital, see them leaving, so they get out and they chase them. And they have, like, one of the first little chase scenes, and then they manage to end up getting away from them, and they go to, like, this, like, ghetto area downtown. And Abe sells Paul's car, or, like, gives it away to, like, this homeless guy because they can't have tracks.
Yeah.
And at this point, Abe is intending to just depart from Paul.
Yeah.
And he's like, just go back home. He's like, oh, your wife will come back, or whatever it is, He's like, he just tells him
Well,
to
they
go
called
away.
him on the way over to
That's
the,
right, they called Mateo,
underpass.
yeah.
Abe was like, is the woman okay? Is the baby okay? Yeah, they're okay. Put it on the phone for a second. They talk for just a second. Of course, they cut it short because they're probably getting tracked.
getting
Like,
tracked,
boom,
yep.
stop this shit. And he sold his car, which I don't get why he sold his car. Like, I guess because they know your car
He
now.
sold it because they know Paul's
they
car.
Know, yeah, they know Paul's car.
So
now.
they can't be seen in it.
Man.
Because in the hospital scene we kind of skipped over was after they leave the detective and they lose them, the detectives go back to the hospital and they're like,
Check the security
pulling
cameras.
the cameras and like, who's this guy? And they, that's the nurse Paul. And then they see that he's the one that helped break him out, so they know it's Paul. So they're obviously going to look for Paul's car, look for his address. Like, now they have something to go on.
That's true.
Yeah. And Abe's smart enough to know that.
Yeah. Which you think he'd warn him, hey, now you can't go home ever.
Yeah. No, Abe don't give a shit
You're a
about
fugitive.
him. He don't care about him.
You're a fugitive.
He's like, forgot to mention, you're going to be wanted.
Is it fun to be on the run? Because I've been doing it for a while.
I've been doing my whole life.
But as this is going on too, you notice that the Mateo and Abe keep getting text messages from a character named Big D, the one that we mentioned before, that you're fucking dead. I'm
And they're
gonna
never
fuck your
nice.
Skull.
They're
Yeah,
never
it's like,
nice.
I'm gonna fuck your skull.
Yeah.
You're dead, man. Stuff like that. And you're like, damn. So they come to find out they robbed him, but the robbing was that Abe and them are paying off a bunch of other criminals.
They owe a lot of people money.
They owe a lot of people money, and they're paying off other people. So when we finally get Big D, and he mentions, he's like, "Oh man, yes, so you paid off so and so with $60,000, $60,000 of my money,
Yep.
and you're not gonna pay me back. You're paying some of my enemies off.
Yeah,
How does
he's
that
like,
make me?
you're worried about these little
smoke
people?
these fools?" And he's like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa."
Yeah.
And of course, when they finally get to that moment, he's like, "I got the money here, and then I got more than that and some in my pocket."
Yep.
Referring to the little
The
flash drive.
The flash drive.
The thumb drive. But before we get into that, we should probably hit some of the other bigger points. I just started
So in throughout the
getting
rest
some
of the movie,
endgame.
as the movie goes on, we switch back and forth between Paul and Abe and Mateo and Taryn.
Mm-hmm.
So we get to see, this is the bulk of the time that we get to see Mateo. And the actor Christian Cook could not have done a better job.
Seriously,
he was
fantastic.
astounding as Mateo. So fucking good. From the moment that you first get the first scene in the car after he has already kidnapped Taryn, and you get their first scene together, it's very apparent that he's not only just uneasy with the situation, he doesn't like what he's doing.
Yeah.
He doesn't like that he had to kidnap
And he
this
keeps
woman.
apologizing
Yeah,
to
and he
her,
keeps
too.
apologizing when she tells him that she's pregnant. You can just see instantly how bad he feels. Like, he doesn't want anything to go wrong here.
He even had
he
a
doesn't
moment
want to
where
hurt
he points
anybody.
his gun at her belly.
Yeah,
And it's like,
dude.
oh man.
He's like, please don't make me do this. And he's
Yeah.
like, I don't want this to happen. But he feels like cornered. He has to get his brother back. It's the person that's raised him. It's like all he knows is his brother.
See all he has.
Yeah, it's all he's got. He can't like live without him. He needs him. He's codependent. He's such a little punk.
I agree.
But anyways,
I agree.
but then Christian Cook, man, throughout the rest of the movie that he's in, he is fucking unreal. Every time we see him, it's like a pretty emotional scene.
Mm-hmm.
There's only like once or twice where it's like a little more lighthearted with him and Taryn, but it's still like not full on. Like there's still
Yeah, there's always
underlying-
something happening at the end that kind of just like, oh, but I can't. She's like, I gotta go home. You know, I gotta have a baby. I gotta be. Sorry, I can't.
Yes,
Like,
I can't.
I
And then
care,
as it
I
goes on, he
sympathize.
gets inquisitive too. Like he starts like inquire about like her and their family and like what they're gonna name the kid. He even like puts his hand in her belly at one point and stuff. Like you can tell that there's like a sweetness within him. You know what I mean? But he's also like a fucking criminal. But he's not like the way that him and Abe are painted throughout this is they were pretty much forced into a bad situation is what kicked off this movie. Like I'm sure they've done other stuff in their past that wasn't good. But it also seems like they just are trying to live, and they are just going about it in like the worst way. Like they're not necessarily bad people; they just dealt a bad hand, and then it's gotten a bad situation after bad situation after bad situation. Especially Mateo, like he does not seem like he's a bad guy.
Nope.
Abe seems like he's hardened because of the life he's lived, but he does have a soft spot for Mateo.
Yeah.
And for children in general, it seems like because it's, like you said, it was when Paul mentions his kid. That's when you can see a change in Abe. And he's like, oh fuck.
Yeah, and well, after they grouped up, Abe and Paul, you know, they apparently ended up going together. They got to get his wife. They got to get, you know, his brother.
Well,
And
he tries to leave Paul, and Paul's like, okay, here, take this bag.
Shoot yourself.
Shoot yourself with the terminal first and the morphine, and make sure you balance them both out because too much terminal and you go into liver failure. Too much morphine, you slip into a coma. Have fun. I'm sure you got it. And Abe's like, fuck, pick up the bag, let's go. He's like, man, I need this guy.
And of course, they need wheels
Yeah, so they got to go
to a shady pawn shop.
Before that, they go to a car wash for some reason. Oh, they go in there to a car wash so that he can give Abe another shot because Abe's starting to feel pain.
Oh, yeah.
And then I thought it was an awesome shot of when they're standing in there and they're talking. You can see someone like walking across the street, approaching.
Yes, that was
And
so
I was
cool.
like,
I love those kind of
I was
shots.
like, okay. And then just a minute later, that guy pops in and just
So you
punches
didn't-
Paul
you
in the
didn't
face.
recognize that dude? He was one of the police officers trying to stop them at the hospital.
Oh, I didn't
He was
even
the
realize
bald,
that.
yeah, he's the
No.
bald white guy trying to stop him at the hospital.
didn't realize
That's why
that.
I was like, as soon as they started walking, I was like, oh man, the cop made it. That's a cool shot.
I didn't even notice it was the cop.
Yeah, no,
that's
yeah,
dope. Yeah, but yeah, and that he just out of nowhere comes around the corner and punches Paul in the face. That made me laugh too. It was like of the two he could hit, it was Paul.
Boom, and then down he goes.
Yeah,
And then, of course, ensues a nice little fight.
but in a car wash, which was so
And
cool.
a car wash, and the dude's in the car like, what the fuck's going on? Like, and hilarious.
It's a car wash
moment.
and a show.
God, hilarious moment for me is that the song they chose for this is because I'm like, oh, it's a little funky 80s type music, you know, a little synthy, a little that. And it goes into I saw you walking in the rain, which is, if you've seen the Donald Glover's SNL, he has a song parody of that, which I thought was just a made song.
I saw you walking in the night.
in the night.
Yeah.
And it's like him trying to catch his girl street cheating.
Yeah.
Man, I was laughing way too hard for this scene than what I needed to because of that. Because I immediately just thought of Gambino, thought of DG, and was like, wow, this is a real fucking song. I had no idea.
The filmmakers had to have known.
I mean,
They had
but
to have known.
That song they chose, though, is the real song, though.
I know. They had to have known. Like, if they didn't, what an amazing
Or
coincidence.
what if we watched SNL and they're like, fuck yeah, do they know that song? You know? I mean,
Right, yeah.
not
What-
surprised that Donald Glover would know that. But
What an
damn.
amazing coincidence.
God, had me laughing so hard. Pretty cool fight. Nothing too great. You know, shows the whole
I love
gun.
that when Mackie tries to help him, the first thing he picks up, he just doesn't realize, and he starts to go forward, and it's on a line. So it just stops, and he's like, oh, man, I need to get something closer. It's like it shows Paul has no idea what he's doing.
No,
he's
he's
completely
not.
out of his
Yeah.
depth, and I like that.
100%.
But eventually he does hit the cop with something in the back of the head to like knock him out, and he helps Abe, and then
Then they start leaving. And,
they start leaving, and this woman just mistakes
woman
them
in
for
a PT
people
Cruiser.
that work there. Yeah, no, a shitty
$20
PT
for
Cruiser.
a back and a buff or something like that.
And he's like, ma'am, get out of the car. And she's like, I've got pepper spray. He's like, I got a fucking gun in my pants. And she's like, what kind of car wash is this?
Yeah, they drive off, steal this woman's PT Cruiser. Oh, man. And, of course,
And
they
it's a
chose like
really
a vibrant PT Cruiser,
It's
too.
a really shitty looking PT Cruiser with like the wood paneling on the
God,
side.
yeah.
It's like yellow with that wood paneling. Like, this is very obvious.
It's like, man, you chose a PT Cruiser. No, I didn't.
He's like, does this thing go any faster? He's like, you're the genius that stole a fucking PT Cruiser. So yeah, after this is when they're like, they need to get a different car. Like they need to change cars, and they go to this pawn shop, which is where I can't remember the name of the guy, but it's some guy that Abe knows. So they go there and they get inside, and he's talking to him. He's like, "Yo, Paul, you stay back here. I'm gonna go up here and talk to him." So while Abe is talking to him, the phone they have has died. So Paul like hooks up to a charger. And in the earlier movie in the hospital, Lieutenant Lewis gave him her card. And he's like, if you can think of anything else, make sure you contact me. So being a smart person, he sends a text to Lieutenant Lewis and tells her where they're at.
Is that a smart person?
No, it's stupid. I would not have done that shit.
You're with a dude that will kill you at any moment.
Yeah.
And your wife, but you're going to risk that? Nope.
And then Abe is up there trying to negotiate with this other guy, and he's like, I'm not helping you, man.
You owe me, man.
He's like, you're on
He's like, you
everybody's
keep bringing
hit
up
list.
the
Big
fucking
T wants to
past.
kill you. And he's like,
Yeah,
you fucking
yeah.
owe me. And he's like, damn it, man.
You keep bringing up the fucking past.
Yeah, he's just like,
was
it's
mad.
all about the past.
Yeah.
So then he gives him like keys to a car, and he's gonna give him like some guns and stuff, and like suit him up so they can get the fuck out of here.
You don't have a Range Rover.
Yeah, he's like his Honda Civic in the back. He's like, you got a Range Rover? He's like, you take what you're gonna get. So then Mateo calls Paul. He keeps calling him, so he answers the phone and he talks to him. And Abe turns around and sees him. He's like, "Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
You're calling someone?" And he rips the phone away, and it's his brother. So then he's like, "Oh, okay, fine." And then he hangs
After he
up.
punches him in the face,
Yeah, after
though.
punches Paul in the face, and he hangs up, and then he gets another text that says like, it says duck or
down.
get down.
Get down.
And he's like, "You son of a bitch! What did you just do?" And then we see Lieutenant Lewis outside with the older police, like the older detective that's with her, and like I think one other detective.
One other detective.
They're like, "We're gonna wait for
Look
backup."
kind of green. Look
Yeah.
young.
And he says, "Are we gonna wait for backup?" And Lieutenant Lewis is like, "No, like we don't have enough time. We need to get in there now and get these people captured." So then they get into the fucking pawn shop, and they make
Nice little gunfire. Nice
they
little
have a little
gunshot, stuff like
gunfire,
that.
and
Yeah.
then eventually they take over and make Paul's already on the ground. They make Abe throw his gun down and get on the ground.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then
the
the fucking pawn shop dude decides, I'm gonna get my shotgun out, and as soon as he moves,
as soon as he
Lieutenant Lewis
popped up,
blasts him, dude.
boom, one to the chest, walks
Yeah.
around, one to the skull, and that's at the moment you're like, why is she so
And she has a
fucking
shotgun too.
gangster?
Yeah, she shoots him in the chest and then walks around and shoots him in the head and kills him. And that's when you're like, what
And
the
her
fuck?
and the older guy that's with her kind of looks at her like, well,
He's
that's,
like, oh
that's
shit,
odd,
she's getting
man.
gangster as
That's what I'm
fuck.
saying.
Yeah.
That- and as a viewer so far, what you didn't think that she was
No,
capable
absolutely
of such
not.
malice. Like,
Yeah,
it was
no.
like, whoa, that was really dark.
She
She trying to
seemed
get these guys.
really torn up about what had happened, but she
Yeah.
also seemed like she was like a good, nice person.
Yeah. Like, holy shit, that got dark.
And then she puts the gun in Abe's face. She goes, "Where's the drive? Tell us where the drive is." She's
Well,
like,
she
"I need
put
the
her
fucking
shotgun away
Yeah, she puts her
and then
shotgun away.
grabbed his gun.
That's right, and takes his handgun. She's like, "Where's the fucking drive? Tell us where the fucking drive is." And she's like very adamant about this.
Yeah,
It's like,
it's-
why? What? I don't understand what's
she's
going
kicking
on.
him a couple times, stuff like that.
And we forgot to mention earlier in the movie too, when her and the older detective had that exchange where he's like, "Because we have a history," and she gets all mad. The reason he says that is because he had someone look into her to make sure that she was clean, and he gave, or the DA was looking into her, and he gave his own vouch for her, but they looked into her anyway. He's like, "And you came up clean, so that's all I care about." So she's a clean cop.
Yep.
So what she's doing now is like, what the fuck? This
Yeah,
doesn't
what the
make
hell's
any
going
sense.
on?
And that cop and the other detective are both kind of like, what the fuck is happening? Like, why is she
Well,
doing
the
this?
detective was reacting more than the cop was.
Yeah, true. The older detective was reacting. Well, I keep saying cop. It's 3 detectives that are in there because none of them are in uniform.
That
That one that's
dude-
green and young is still wearing a suit.
I thought he was wearing. Okay, I thought
He's
he
wearing
had,
a suit.
yeah.
He's not wearing like a police officer uniform. But yeah, she's all up in friggin' Abe's face wanting to get this flash drive and shit. And then Abe is like, "Oh, you're gonna frame this for murder like you did the other one too?"
Yeah, you're gonna make this look like a homicide.
And they're like, "Wait, what the fuck?" And then he says something else. I can't remember what the fuck else he says to her. He says one other line to her.
I thought he just said that, and then she looks over at him.
Maybe, yeah. And
That's
then
the
she looks
other
at the other
detective was
detective,
like,
and
"Are
he
you
like puts it
serious?"
together, and he's like, "It was you." He's like, "Are you serious? Like you were involved in the killing of the DA?"
Mm-hmm.
And then she points the gun at him, and he's like, "Don't do this." He's like, "You're not gonna kill me. That's not who you are," or something like that. And she just blasts him in the
Dude,
fucking
straight
head.
up, yeah.
And it's with Abe's gun.
Mm-hmm.
Then she shoots him in the fucking head.
And she puts her gun up and says, "Shoot him," and then shoot the other
Well,
one.
yeah, backup arrives. Like I guess you can hear the sirens outside, and she puts her gun up, and she was like, "Shoot him and shoot the other one." And she walks over to the detective. She goes, "Hey, it's okay. It doesn't got to be clean. It doesn't got to be, or it doesn't got to be perfect. It just got to be clean.
Make
It's
it
gonna-
believable.
Yeah, make it believable. It's a double homicide, or it's a shootout. He shot him, so you shot him. And that's what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And so then she leaves.
She walked out, but then Paul, the dude's aiming at him. The detective's starting to aim at him. He's shaking. He's shaking, and then Paul grabs the gun on the ground from the other detective and shoots the cop.
That's
he shot
right.
The detective. He boom,
Didn't
boom.
she threw Abe's gun on the ground.
Mhm.
It was like he shot him, you shot him. She throws his gun on the ground, and then she was like, "Make it believable," and walks out. So yeah, Paul grabs that gun while he's about to kill Abe and shoots that cop like several times.
Kill the cop. Boom.
And kills him. And of course, Paul is
Shaking.
in the moment he's shaking, kind of freaking out, but like you don't really have time to fully
and it
freak
has
out.
that whole where the sound goes out, and he's like, Paul.
He's like, "Paul, we need
"Tell
to
me
go
fuck
now.
up." Yeah.
Yeah, get me up. We need
And
to
at
leave."
that moment, Abe knows. He's like, well, now I got to trust you because
He's
you
killed
just
cop,
killed the
so,
cop. So,
yeah.
but he keeps telling him, he's the one that keeps telling him it's a dirty cop, dude. It's not the same. He's like, man, it's still a fucking cop, dude. They're criminals. They're just a killer with the gun or a killer with the badge. That's all it is.
And also, he in the pawn shop, he has this pinata in the corner of the room that is the surveillance camera.
Yep. Dude brags about it.
Inside the pinata that has the surveillance camera is also a nanny cam.
Oh, that's why I was confused. Okay.
That's why at the end, when they go to the police station, he rips it open, pulls the nanny cam out. It's already kind of ripped open because there's a camera in the top. There's also a nanny cam in the bottom that records on its own because the camera on the top is hooked to the system in there so they can wipe it. But then there's also a nanny cam in the bottom.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was an important piece of information, which as soon as he mentioned that in that scene, I was like, oh, that's going to be fucking important for some reason, I bet.
Oh, of course.
And then the whole thing happened, and I was like, oh, shit, so they're dirty. And that is going to be important, that camera. And they mention it not long after this. They're like, the pinata cam in the pawn shop. We need to go back and get that. And they're like, yeah, there's like, how are we going to get back there and get that shit?
How are we going to get
That's
that?
not going to happen.
Well, that's when the Big D scene that I was talking about. They go talk to him. They know how to get there.
So this is when they go to Big D.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the reveal was he gives him the flash drive, tells him everything. He's like, what do I fucking need that for? And he's like, it has this, this, and this, and this on it. Anytime that you have any problem with what you're doing, you got a way out.
Yep. And also, it has the passwords and linked numbers of secret bank accounts full of money.
Yup.
And he's like, why didn't you lead with that shit?
Yeah, I know, man.
Why didn't you open with that?
So they come in here and you get a little MTV Cribs type moment. And he's like, I
Big
want
D.
these guys to know that there's more to life, more to the cinema than Scarface.
Like, I'm trying to educate them.
I'm trying to educate them.
Then they're watching like On the Waterfront or some shit
I believe
like
so.
that.
I didn't
my
recognize
God,
the
dude.
movie.
And
He's
then-
like, wait for it. Wait for it.
Yeah, and
Wait
it's
for
like-
it. Boom, and a bridge collapse. That's how you make movies,
That's
man.
how you make cinema.
People out here trying to watch lightsabers and shit.
Then when he said that in my mind, I was like, fuck you, Big D.
And I know. I thought of you immediately. I was like, God,
This
that's
motherfucker.
like, that's how you make a
Big D's
movie.
got them all sitting around the couch watching
Apparently
the
they
movie.
watch movies regularly. Like,
Yeah.
they on the.
He said there's like a marathon on TCM, which is Turner Classic. It's like a channel that shows old movies, and he's like marathoning it all day.
He's like, I want them to, the finer things in life.
So then he's like, we're going to have a investors meeting. So like they leave the room or whatever, and they are trying to plan how they're going to do what they're going to do after this. And Big D's actually going to help them because he can record it and make a movie out of it.
Because that's great.
Yeah, because Big D's fucking awesome. So they get him like these, they get Abe a police costume, and they get, what's his head?
EMT.
Paul an EMT costume. And also, we totally skipped over before this. What's his name? Mateo and the wife end up going to this warehouse, which Abe tells him to go and wait for him at our warehouse. And it's very apparent when they get there, this is where they fucking live. And we get 2 or 3 scenes, like, going back and forth. Like, we come back to this place 2 or 3 times, and Taryn and Mateo are in there, and eventually, Taryn's like, she thinks she's going into labor. She's like, are you going to deliver this baby? And he's like, oh, I don't know that.
Well,
She's
yeah,
like,
and they had
well,
a
then
moment.
you need to take me to the fucking hospital.
Yeah, and they had a moment, too, where we almost got all 4 of them together at a meetup, but apparently that was already busted.
You're right, yeah.
So they had
They
that
go to a
cool, they're
train
like,
station.
fuck it, we got to do it.
Yep.
Abe gets out, shoots a gun, so everybody starts scattering. They leave, they separate. Taryn tried to leave again, but of course,
And
he
Mateo
didn't let
called her. Yeah.
Yep, he didn't let her.
I mean, she can't exactly run real fast being
Yeah,
pregnant.
she can't.
She can't get away.
So then we get us to this point.
Yep.
So they've tried to meet, but they just couldn't be able to do it.
I forgot they had that one part. Yeah. So then while we're in there, Mateo seems to be getting more like fond of Taryn, and eventually when she was like, "You need to take him to the hospital," he's like, "All right, fuck." He's like, "I'm gonna take you to the hospital." She's like, "Oh, thank God." And she's like, "Let me just call my brother." And she's like, "No, don't call him. Don't call anybody. Don't call anybody." And he's like, "No, I need to call him. I have to call him." And so he gets up. They go call his brother, and when he walks away, she's like, "Oh God, please don't answer."
And in that second, homeboy
Yeah.
gets shot.
And so the Mateo's out there about to call someone, and he gets fucking shot. And
And
then
that's by a dude that we've seen
comes
a
out and
couple
yep.
times in this movie, and once where he noticed the warehouse was open. I don't know how he knew it was theirs, though.
he
'Cause he's-
followed them.
Okay, so but
followed
they
him.
didn't show the follow until they pulled
Yeah,
up.
they just show him like pulling up, so like it leads to believe he's been following them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, and it's another cop or it's another person that we've seen before.
That's at least affiliated with Lewis.
That's at least affiliated with Lewis. Like I was assuming already in this moment, oh, it's like another dirty cop, which it turns out to be. I'm pretty sure it is. They never specifically say.
They never said, but he's
he's in a
when
police
there's a
station
line of
later.
like, "Who's your family?" He's like, "Oh, this is all I have left," and she touches him on the arm.
So then, yeah, he goes in there and shoots him the fuck up, and then he's trying to get information from him, and he doesn't see Taryn. The dirty cop doesn't. So she like picks up something and goes to hit him in the back with it, and it does nothing.
It does nothing. I'm
And he
like,
turns
"Oh,
around.
Why?
Yeah,
the whole when she
why?
grabs it, I was like, "Why are you even risking it? You're pregnant.
Yeah.
Why are you even risking
So
it?"
he turns around and grabs her and throws her on the ground. At this one, I'm like, oh no. But then Mateo starts like yelling at him. And he's like, you want more information? He's like, go fuck yourself and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, and
So then he
flips
turns
him
on
the
and starts,
bird.
flips him bird and starts beating the shit out of Mateo. And then it cuts away from this. And then Frank and Paul.
Well, it tells him he's like, if you're gonna shoot somebody. I don't remember the line he said,
right,
but
he
then
does
you
say
hear,
something
then
like
you
that.
see him walk up and point the gun at him, and then there's a gunshot and it goes away.
Yep.
And then it cuts the black.
And then a couple scenes after this, I don't remember the exact moment, but Paul and Abe go
that's
back
when
there.
they're playing.
Yeah.
No, that's later. That's after the plan, I'm pretty sure.
No, I think this is what leads them to go to the plane because now they want to kill everybody. They go back to the warehouse looking for them, and they like no one is there, but in the bed where they like the mattress area where they sleep.
No, see, that's like the end. That's towards the end because then they have.
No, because they don't.
No, because then they go to the cop thing. Yep,
Yeah, the cop thing's the end. Yeah, so they go there and there's like the blanket is like made on the bed and like the fuck, and it's kind of like shaking. And they go over there and move the blanket, and it's fucking Mateo, and like he's clearly fucking dying.
Yeah,
and him and Abe have like a really emotional like moment together, and Abe's like, "You need to fucking save him, do something, fucking save him," and he's like, "I can like ease his pain, but he's bleeding too much. Like I can't do anything. Like number one, like we're not in a hospital.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing I can do here. He's like, I could ease his pain." And he's like, "Do it, fucking do it." And he's like, "I'm not gonna have a shot for you later." He's like, "Just do it anyway." So he gives him the shot or whatever, and then he like holds Mateo, and he's like telling him this thing that he used to tell him when they were kids. And he's like,
close your eyes.
He's like, "Yeah, close your eyes. It'll be okay." He's like, "You're gonna live. You're gonna be okay. You're gonna fucking make it. I'm gonna keep you here. I'm gonna keep you here." And he's like, "Just close your eyes. Close your eyes." And he just keeps repeating this to him, and then Mateo dies. And before Mateo dies, though, when they first show up, he looks over him. He's like, "They took your wife," and that's how they know, like, "Oh fuck." So and then like Mateo dies, and Paul's like, "Why the fuck did you do that?" And he was like, "What?" And he's like, "You fucking lied to him." He's like, "Why'd you do that?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "I gave him what everybody needs. I give him hope." And like when he said that, I was like, "Oh, he loves his brother."
He could have done a better cry, in my opinion.
Yeah, but he's supposed to be like this tough, hard
know,
guy. So
but-
I thought it worked well. But yeah, after this moment now, Abe is like, "Fuck everyone. I'm
Yeah.
ready to kill all these people." And Paul's in because they got his wife.
Yep, and that's where they.
then
that's
they
when
get a
with-
Big D.
Yep, that's when they get contacted. I forgot Big D did happen after the death. And then they get contacted after all this stuff, the ENT. And
Well,
stuff
yeah,
like
by
that,
Lewis.
By Lewis, and that's what led him to Big D was because he's like, "Hey, you want your wife?" Like they have this deep conversation, like I'll fucking kill her and shit like that. Like, oh my god, dude,
Yeah.
Lewis gangster.
And Lewis is gangster
She
as
don't give a
fuck.
fuck,
Yeah,
dude.
he's a dirty cop.
Yep. He's like, oh, they want me to do, and like she's loading the gun on the phone, like you can hear
Yeah,
all this
dude.
stuff happening and stuff like that.
He's like, they want
He's
me
like,
to do to her.
"Meet me here at I don't remember the time.
Like just sometime. Yeah.
Sometime. Well, of course they start doing that, and they're like, all right, 2 minutes out. Well, Big D's plan is to, which is an awesome little scene of him.
Yeah.
They're getting in the car, so there are a bunch of people pushing this car. You're like, what the fuck's happening? Like 4 or 5 of them behind, one of them in the car hanging out.
Yeah, like steering it. Yep.
And then they go that, and then it turns the corner, and they all stop except for the guy steering, and they're going down the hill, and they drive by a
They drive by Big
black
D.
Escalator Navigator.
Yeah, the Big D Escalade.
And he hands him a Molotov. And you're like, okay, shit. Well, they set the car on fire. He's driving down the hill, boom, 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 and then the dude jumps out, and the car perfectly hits a cop car.
Yep. And then blows
up a little bit more,
Yeah.
and of course, a bunch of people get there because his thing is EMT usually shows up first.
Yep.
So that's why it works out. Like, that
So then
he's in
he's
that
this guy.
outfit.
Paul's his
he's
EMT.
Like, hey, yeah,
and
Paul's
Abe's the
like,
cop.
I'm calling the cop. He's calling him like, we need help, 911, come to this. Oh, well, they go up there, and then you hear Lewis get a call on her
On her
walkie.
scanner, yeah.
She's like, what the fuck's happening?
And then when she drive, like, there's like an explosion right in front of the police station. She's like, oh, fuck. And when she starts to drive off, you can see in the distance over the buildings, not far from her, is like smoke billowing up in the air. It's like, oh, shit. So she drives up there and she sees that this car is on fire. And I'm sure, like, one of her first thoughts is, this is these motherfuckers.
Yeah, because she drove. She didn't stop. She
Yeah.
just kept going. She's like, fuck.
So then she goes inside, back inside
After.
to the. Where does she go after
She
this?
she goes in after. She goes into the police station afterwards because they go in. They start going in because they're trying to find.
That's right, yeah. So when it blows up, he's Paul. They show Paul and Abe, and Paul's like, "You ready?" And Abe's like, "Yep." So they get out, and Abe is dressed as a cop, and he acts hurt, and he's got his arm around Paul, the EMT.
He's like, we need to get him in. We need to get
carrying
him in.
inside. Yeah.
I'm a doctor. I need to get him in.
Yeah, and they try to stop him. He says, "Sir, with all respect, he's like, I'm a doctor. We need to get him inside now. He is injured." So then they get inside the police station because they know that's where Karen is, or that's where Taryn is. They know Karen.
Darren.
Karen's hiding down there with his little
He's like,
concoctions.
I have been in my prison for so long.
And that's where the movie gets crazy.
Yeah, dude, John Jones came out of nowhere.
Jean Jones.
But then followed, she obviously saw the smoke. She comes in, Lewis, and she starts walking in, doing her thing. And of course, another little like cliche moment. The two of them walk behind and they're like,
Yeah,
how's
no.
it going, officer? Put the gun down, hands on the wall, blah, blah, blah. And of course, you hear a woman scream.
And
So
then Paul
that's
runs
when-
off.
That's when Paul runs in because she was being watched by the guy that
killed Mateo.
That killed Mateo. And he's obviously noticed the smoke. He noticed a lot of sirens going on outside. And he's like, turns around. Of course, another moment.
And she's gone.
She's gone. Of course she is.
Yeah.
Because you take your eyes off a person that you're watching.
Like for 1 second.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for 1 second.
And then she's down in like the evidence room.
Yeah. Which she never
This
moved that
huge
fast
evidence
the
room.
entire movie, but
Yeah,
it's
no.
whatever.
Yeah. True.
She's down there, and of course, he finds her having a little fight going on, too. So I'm like, man.
This guy's brutal.
This
Like,
guy's
he's
a piece of shit,
Yeah.
man. Come on, dude.
If I can pregnant woman here.
And of course, scream happens. So Anthony Mackie's Paul runs away and is like, I got to go to her. And he's like, okay, I got this. Don't worry. I have this chick at gunpoint. She's not going anywhere. I'm not an idiot to leave my eyes off somebody that I want to kill.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, I'm a bit smarter than that.
That's what I'm going to do. So he, of course, goes to the warehouse, and a nice little fight happens.
Not the
there.
warehouse, the
Evidence locker.
Yeah.
Goes down there, and he's, once again, for a fourth time, just getting beat up.
Yeah.
Paul
is not a fighter.
He's a lover. He's not a fighter. He's
gets
getting
whipped.
waxed up in here. He gets put in his place, and of course, what sucks is when he walks up, dude, he's choking his wife.
Yeah, he's choking
like, straight
her.
up just trying to kill her. Like, okay, they just fucking choking her. I was like, dude, this is just. They have all these moments of getting super dark. Like, it is about to be like, whoa, dude, they're really gonna do it. They're really gonna fucking do it. Then she, like I said, it was going real dark, and
Paul's getting his ass.
Paul's
whipped.
getting his ass whipped. Finally comes in, tackles him. Looks like he's about to die. He's not gonna be. He can't do it. He can't outdo him. You know, this guy's a fighter.
Paul's
this
not
guy's
a fighter.
But of course has another little cheesy moment where he's crawling across the ground and the dude's not stopping him from trying to grab the needle that just happened to be falling
This
out
happens
of
all
the
the
container.
times in movies, and the only thing I can figure out is like the person that is on top just for some reason doesn't realize what they're doing. I love when movies show that they look up to see where they're going and they knock it away or they grab it first. Like, that's the smart thing.
I think so. Yeah.
How the fuck are you not paying attention? Like, where are they trying to go?
Yeah, why are you trying to crawl away from me? They're just trying to escape, and I'm just going to keep
Like, the
beating
way it
them.
was done in this, like, the dude wasn't looking up. He was looking down at Paul's body. He was just smashing him on the back to, like, to get him to stop moving. But still, I would have looked up. You know what I mean? He doesn't, so it makes it a little more believable, but it's still not believable because who would not look up?
Yeah, exactly.
And Paul's crawling towards a fucking needle, and it's obviously a needle of morphine.
Morphine or some sort of...
Yeah, morphine or Tormadol. I'm assuming it's morphine because he said too much puts you in a coma.
Yeah. The other one fucking make you...
But liver failure, yeah.
Liver failure. So.
But he grabs the needle and hits the guy with it and injects it to him, and the guy just like passes out immediately.
And just
almost.
drops down the ground.
He fucking comatose is that dude, and then he goes over to like see his wife and stuff, and she's like going into labor, and he's like, "You got to deliver the baby right here, right now."
Then cut back to
Abe
and Lewis, and he's talking some mad shit to her.
Oh yeah,
yeah, kicked her in the face,
yeah,
hard,
he did.
man. Telling her all the wrong she did, all the stuff like you're going fucking down, blah blah blah. He's like, "Oh, we've already deleted everything." He's like, "Oh, is that so?" And he walks over to the Mr.
pinata's
Cushy,
there.
which is just a pot leaf. I don't know.
Yeah,
if
it's
you
just like a
noticed
pot leaf pinata is all it was.
Mr. Cushy.
Yeah.
Rips it open and pulls out a little nanny cam, and she's like, "Fuck."
Yep.
And
he's like, "It's all on here."
He's like,
You're
"Don't
fucked.
have to worry. Yeah, you're fucked." And he's like, she does something like that's when he kicks.
Yeah,
the
she
shit
does
out of
something. He
kind of
kicks her,
knocks
knocks her
out
down
a little bit, and is like, "Shoot yourself."
Yeah, and
puts down a
her
gun and walks away.
And then he
Not yet. It went back to
no fuck.
after that one
else.
goes to Paul.
God damn it! There was something I was gonna mention. I forgot what it was. Oh yeah. When they're at Big D's and Big D's like, let's have a meeting. Big D asks what really happened, and that's when we find out what was really going on.
Oh yeah, I forgot the nice little flashback of why you were there.
Abe's brother Mateo got busted for like something.
Looking at a 10-year stretch.
You're looking at a 10-year stretch for no, it was manslaughter, or I think he says mandatory, and I think mandatory meant like, or not mandatory. I'm pretty sure he alluded to manslaughter, like Mateo killed somebody, and we don't know if it was on purpose or an accident or what it was. But he's looking at a 10-year stretch. If it was 10 years, I thought it was first-degree murder. I'm pretty sure you get more than that for first-degree murder. So he's looking at a 10-year stretch. So like the cops have him, and they rope him into doing this thing for them. He has to go to this DA and get this flash drive. But when he shows up, the DA is already dead, and he realizes, fuck, I'm being set up. So he takes the flash drive and jumps out the window and leaves.
And that's what it was.
And that's what
and
it
the
was.
person
like,
was watching the entire time.
Was Lewis inside a van, and she was watching the whole time. And so, and that's when, before Lewis shoots the older detective, Masterson, whenever Abe is like, you're going to frame this for homicide like you did the other one, Masterson looked at her, he's like, first on the scene, huh? First to arrive?
Yeah.
He's like, immediately puts it together. I loved that. And that scene, he immediately was like, you fuck did it. Oh my God, you fucking asshole.
He fucking made
it wasn't like, it was a big reveal, but it wasn't one of the things that took forever. Like, he instantly connected the dots, like, this fucking bitch is dirty. Shit.
I can't believe you.
He's like, motherfucker, yep. And then
she said that too, right before he kicked her in the face. She's like, "You don't know how high this goes. This isn't going to do anything."
Yeah, and she said
have
that to
fun
Abe.
having someone watch you all the time. And
yeah,
he's
well,
like,
for the rest of your
it won't
life.
It won't be you.
Yeah, that's right. He's like, have fun looking at the shoulder for the rest of your life. He's like, it won't be you.
Yep.
And he fucking kicks her in the face, and he puts her gun, he throws her gun down, and he was like, shoot yourself, and he fucking walks out. And then it cuts back to Paul and his wife, and he's trying to deliver the baby, and these lights.
He's like, we're going to do it. I don't want to. He's like, I don't want to either, but it's coming.
Yeah, we got to go. And then these lights come up on behind him, and there's 3 cops, and they're like, sir, get up, put your hands up.
Show us your hands, or we will fire.
Yeah, or we will shoot you. He's like, officer's like, I'm a doctor. This woman's in labor. They're like, show us your hands.
I understand the situation that is happening, but I do not care. I am delivering this baby.
Yep. And then we see one of them kind of walk around to his left and like peer over with a flashlight to see, okay, yeah, this dude's delivering a baby right now. We're going to leave him be.
Back up.
He's like, we're going to let him do it. Yeah. So then,
little baby boy.
And he delivers the boy, and delivers the baby, and it's a boy. So then it cuts from that to Abe walking outside, and there was a news report that had happened earlier, like just reporting on the fire.
Nice little thing, and then it cuts.
And they were wrapping.
Oh, that's a good take. And blah, blah, blah.
And they're wrapping up now, and he walks over to the van, and like the cameraman is in the van, like the doors like open a little bit, and he's like, hey, you want to win an Emmy? Kind of looks at him. He's like, air this tonight. And he hands it to him, and he's like, I don't know. I don't have
the USB for this.
He's like, I don't have the USB for this. And he stares at him. He's like, I'll make it work.
And then not even that long after,
of course. And then Abe just walks off down the road, and then it fades out, and it says like 1 year later.
Oh, no. What? You just skipped
the
big
no, you're
reveal.
right. You're right. Abe just walked away.
They got him, baby.
And then it cuts back to fucking
TVs and stuff like that.
Yep.
And I think it's still the day of.
Yeah, it's like right then. Yeah. So then it's showing the security camera footage of Lieutenant Lewis killing Masterson.
I don't think they would show on news. I don't know about.
I don't know if they would show that either, but still.
It's just straight up murder.
Yeah. So they show her shooting him, and you can see her in the office, like in the police station, and she's watching it, seeing as it's happening. And she's like, fuck me. I'm assuming that guy, like, uploaded the USB and watched what it was in the van. He's like, oh my God, come look, we gotta air this right now.
Yeah.
Like, it's fucking nuts. So then Lewis is seeing this happen, and she's got her gun, and she picks it up. And she like makes sure it's loaded and shit. And for a moment, I thought she was like just gonna shoot out with the cops that came in there and like go down, guns a-blazing.
That's what I was thinking.
And she's like holding the gun, and then the door busts open, and a couple cops rush in, like, put
They're
the fucking gun down, put the fucking gun down. And then she picks her hand up to put it up to her chin, and they fucking blast the shit out of her. Like,
it was within seconds.
Before she can shoot herself, they blast her down.
And as soon as that even got close to her chin, they just started shooting her.
Yep. And they shoot her and blast her down to the ground. And then it fades away, and it's like 1 year later, and they're having a birthday party for their son, a 1 year birthday
I'm
party.
not gonna lie, if it ended after 1 year later, that'd have been a gangster ending. Like, or before the 1 year end, like.
Just with her dying?
Yeah,
that'd been dope.
Whoa.
But then it's like the birthday party, and Anthony Mackie's character Paul is even like, "Oh, hey, a birthday that you're never gonna remember."
Playing video games.
Yeah, and he's playing video games with the kid, which was funny because they mentioned that like earlier in the movie. They mentioned video games.
Yeah, being stealthy like Metal Gear
Solid.
Do
I look like someone who plays fucking video games? He's like, maybe you should. It'd help with your aggression. What aggression? Or it's like, fuck. He's like, I'll punch you in the face. He goes, yeah, that aggression. That's what I'm talking about. It'd help with that. That's right before they go to the car wash.
We didn't even mention Pops.
Yeah, that's when they're in Pops' little thing. When they're getting chased by the police at one point.
The character you see for the first time. You only see him 2 times in this movie. Mm-hmm. First time would be when Anthony Mackie's first going to work, and he brings him a coffee.
Yep.
And I guess it's just the story they met, because he did reveal how he met him. He was one of his patients and stuff like that.
He kept cutting himself to go to the hospital to get help. Yep. And he was like, look, I'll make you a deal. I'll bring you coffee every single day if you stop fucking doing this yourself. So he's been like clean, not doing it for a while. Mm-hmm. So yeah, they escape in one part of the movie that way. The second time they used
it to use his little cart that he was bragging to Anthony Mackie about. Like, oh man, it keeps the bugs away. It's nice, if I'm not staying at the homeless shelter, I'm going to be sleeping in here.
Yep, and it's like a little mobile home for him.
Yeah, it's like 2 carts put together
with sit in it. Yeah,
with big enough for 2 people to sit in it.
So Abe and Paul get in that at one point to get away from the cops.
Pretty nice moment.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So then it's 1 year later, and they're having a birthday party for their kid, and he takes like a little video of it, and then he gets a text that said,
Wish the kid happy birthday.
From unknown, it says, wish the kid happy birthday for me. And then he sends him
a picture of the cake, which we don't see until the picture.
Yeah, and the cake says, happy birthday, Maddie. And you see...
Saw it coming from a mile away.
So they named their son after Mateo. So then you see fucking Abe is in a Range Rover and driving down the road. Yep. And he's looking at his phone and gets the picture, and he puts it away, and he's just smiling. And then like the camera pans up as he's driving off and just cuts to black. I was like, man, that was
so his name
cool.
is either Matthew or Mateo.
Yeah.
Same name.
But they call him Maddie. Like it was definitely inspired by Mateo.
Absolutely.
It's like the wife and him kind of have like some sweet moments throughout the movie. I mean, Mateo was so good. Anthony Mackie was really good too, and so was Frank Grillo. The woman who played Taryn, the wife, was really good. Marcia Gay Harden was good. Like, it was all around a great ensemble.
Yeah, it was all around.
Big D was
Really good.
awesome in his little screen time. He was hilarious.
If he had more, he'd have been phenomenal.
Oh, dude, absolutely, dude. Absolutely. He'd been right up there with Christian Cook if he had more
Dude,
time.
he was real good.
He was killing it.
His mannerisms, everything. That was great.
I just loved that he was this super big time like
film lover,
gangster guy that was like this big drug dealer, and he's like super into TMC and film and like old cinema. That was
cinema.
hilarious, dude.
That was great.
They were either watching All the Waterfront or maybe it might have been Bridge on the River Kwai. I can't remember what movie it was they were watching, but it was like a really like esteemed older film.
Waiting for that bridge to fall.
Waiting for a bridge to collapse. He's like, "That's how you do cinema!" And the dude that's in the couch next to him like freaks out too. He's like, "Oh!"
Not yet. Not yet. Dad!
No, that was so funny. That dude was hilarious.
Yeah, great watch for sure. Especially, I mean, it's only an hour and 27 minutes.
Yeah, it's well worth your time.
On Netflix, came out July 12th, I believe. So we're a little later than what we
About a month
normally do.
ago. Yeah. It's been in my queue
But
for like
overall,
2
I mean,
weeks, and I
great.
forgot about it.
Awesome movie. Awesome movie. Seriously, cinematography was quality stuff.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
Plot was fine. The plot was fine. It's just how they approach certain things. Like I said, was
Yeah,
a
some
little-
things could have been a little tighter.
Yeah, could have been tighter.
The pacing was very good. Performances were very
I
good.
think pacing was the best part.
I loved the ending. Like the whole climax was very good. I like how that was done. There was some really intelligent beats in it, like how Anthony Mackie broke him out. I thought was really smart.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was really cool. The way they escaped with Pops was cool. Like to bring him back in, like, and that's the purpose of even seeing him the first time. I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yep.
I like that. And then there was something else I was thinking about too, and I can't remember what it was now. But yeah, I thought it was
The twist was nice. I actually didn't
twist
see
was
that
cool.
coming. Yeah.
of her being a dirty cop. Yeah, I didn't either. That was a really
nice.
cool moment.
Yep.
Yeah, overall, I really, really enjoyed it. I'd probably give it like an 8.5, I think. That's probably I'd give it 8.5 out of 10. Great performances. Some things could have been cleaned up, but honestly, like the movie was just so fun and so entertaining that like it made up for the stuff that was lacking.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was very good. I liked it.
I agree.
I definitely recommend it.
For sure, especially if you just like Anthony Mackie.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, if
That
you
was
need a reason to watch a movie.
90%
with
of
him
the
in
reason I wanted to watch
Yeah.
it. I was like, Anthony Mackie. I was like, oh yeah, Frank Grillo's in it. But Anthony Mackie, let's go.
Yeah,
Love him.
100%.
We were as funny as we were debating between two movies. This movie with Anthony Mackie or a movie called the Red Sea Resort or the Red Sea Diving Resort, which is a movie starring Chris Evans. So we were watching a movie with Captain America no matter what.
No matter what, we're watching a movie with Captain America.
We might end up doing the Red Sea Diving Resort at some point. Depends if anything comes out next weekend or not.
Yep.
I want to see that movie mostly because of the cast, dude. It's Chris Evans and Michael Kenneth Williams. Like, sign me up. I'm already interested.
Of course.
They're fucking both amazing. Like,
Yeah.
the trailer made it look.
Yeah, trailers.
I'm just hoping the performances are awesome and it's got great cinematography and good text and like it at least keeps me invested. It's
Yes.
not even that long, 2 hours and 10 minutes. So with credits and all, like without
Yeah, but it's
credits,
30 minutes longer than the movie we just watched.
yeah, without credits, it's gonna be barely over 2 hours. So it's like pretty standard length, ish. Like an hour and a half to 2 hours is pretty much standard.
To see what we're getting to now.
Yeah. So we might do that one on our next episode. Again, it depends if anything comes out next weekend that we want to see. And there's a potential too if something comes out next weekend that's like amazing that you may be getting this episode a week later than I'm originally intending.
Yeah. So you'll
we
be
might-
hearing from us in 2 weeks.
Yeah, we might be watching the new movie and then I might release that episode the next day to cap on it having just come out. We'll have to see. It depends what comes out. I don't know. I should probably have looked it up, but I'm fat and lazy and stupid.
We'll get there.
Someone's gonna take over Steven's role, being fat, lazy, and
I
dumb.
mean,
and I
he
guess
kind
it'll
of
be me.
he does that anyways.
Steven is inevitable.
Even when he's not here, he's spiritually fat.
He is inevitable.
He is inevitable.
He's our Thanos.
Gone, reduced to atoms.
Reduced to Stevens.
Like the MCU, hopefully. God, fuck that. All right, welcome to Omega Level Podcast.
Josh is off the show.
Manhunter. DC, baby, you guys should have saw it coming.
You had no idea. You
Should have seen it coming,
Should've
baby.
known. That's how Endgame should have ended. All of a sudden, just something appears behind him. Manhunter phases in from behind him, just takes the gauntlet right out of his body, just rips it from back.
He's like, you guys couldn't have done this sooner.
He's like,
And just goes into the earth.
all you needed was me. Like, who the fuck is that guy?
Snaps, everyone's Martians. Now I am not alone.
Mars is reborn. It's like, oh fuck, this was evil.
God, this is worse than ever.
But anyways, what were your overall thoughts on Point Blank?
Stupid, shallow, and pedantic. Typical Hollywood pandering bullshit. Seriously, honestly.
Well, first off, its first problem was it was made in 2019, so it was already terrible.
Already terrible.
Was it from 1940?
Dude, agree. 100%. 100%. I actually hope they, overall, I'd probably give it a 7.58 because I had some issues with the plot, but
good rating.
acting was really good. Entertainment was through the charts for sure. Like,
I'm
I was
definitely more
a bit-
forgiving on ratings than you are.
You what?
I'm more forgiving with ratings than you are. I seem to be
I
more
don't
forgiving
think
with
so,
most
dude.
people.
I don't know.
You give this like a 7.5. I give an 8.5. I was contemplating a 9 for this movie.
I mean, I don't know.
I was just so entertained.
It's some of them. I mean, I give other movies a lot more ratings. Like, it's very rare recently I give anything even under a 7.
Bro,
you know
you
what I mean?
gave Shazam, which was a fucking masterpiece,
Okay.
like a 4.
Okay, dude. Okay, I gave it a 6, actually.
Is it really? Wow, dang.
That's
You
what I'm
speak about
saying.
the movie like it's a 2.
That's what I'm talking about.
I
See?
gave it like a 6.
I'm generous.
I enjoyed it.
I'm generous. I'm generous.
I'm generous. Oh, man.
I mean, it was nothing special, but it's worth the watch. Very
sure.
entertaining.
Very
and that's
sure.
how most of my viewings go. If it's entertaining, it will get a higher score. If it's not entertaining, but its texts are great, of course it'll get a higher score. But
Like it was well made, but I
entertainment
didn't
for
care.
me is definitely a big factor. in
Well,
that.
for me too. That's
Like,
why I
just
give this
think
like an 8.5.
That's
I
what I'm
was
saying.
so
I
entertained.
can't just be enamored with a film that I'm bored as fuck with. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Like Once Upon a Time.
Yeah. Like,
I was enamored, and that's what's like after thinking about it, after like having a week now, after seeing it, I was like, man, I was just kind of caught up in it being a Tarantino movie, and I was enamored with like the text of the movie, which are all fantastic, and the performances, and it's just,
dude, those are thoughts that were going through my head when I'm watching. I'm like,
see, for
this
me,
is
it wasn't.
Tarantino. Do I like this?
I literally just sat there smiling almost the whole time, like, no Tarantino. And then just every time that Sharon was on screen, I was just so happy and upbeat. I was literally in the theater, like, bobbing my head, like
Yeah.
I was into it. But then it was just so many stretches of like, what's next? Can we just move on now? I get it. He's a fucking actor. I got it. Okay, he's got a dog. I get it. Let's go.
He's got a dog. Yeah,
I understand.
That's what I'm saying. It's not. I don't know. Just certain moments like that take me out of it.
The only scene in that whole movie that was super long and slow that I didn't have those thoughts in was the Spawn Ranch scene. That scene went for fucking ever, but it was so intense.
I didn't feel slow though.
Well, it was a
I know
slower,
it went a
like it was
while,
a slower scene. But I guess not slow. It was like a long scene, you know.
Definitely
Yeah.
building suspense.
Yeah, for sure. But anyways, overall, yeah, we both enjoyed Point Blank. If you got Netflix, which like almost everybody does, at least has access to it, you should definitely check it out if you're fans of Frank Mackey or you just like really entertaining action movies. Frank Mackey, wow. If you're fans of Anthony Grillo, and Frank Mackey,
they're really good.
if you're a fan of Anthony Mackie,
There
you
you
should
go.
definitely check this out. It's very, very good. Well, very, very entertaining. It's worth your time.
100%.
So yeah, we'll be back when we're back, aka next week. So
Check us out on Comic Talk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Don't.
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah.
Don't. Yeah. Hello. Yeah. Hello. Yeah.
Definitely check out our comic book episode. Make sure you follow us on all of our social medias that were listed in the beginning of this episode. Bet you know about that.
Wow, that's good.
That's an extended Tarantino episode.
Sick. Sick. 4 hours.
Yeah.
Director's commentary. That's how we do.
And it's a lot of long takes, and then in a podcast that's just silence for 10 minutes.
Man, you more cut up than a Julian Caesar.
Salad, man. You more cut than Julian Salad, man. Trying to get like you.
He don't break character until directed commentary.
But yeah, so appreciate you. Thanks for listening. Tell your friends about us. We're the best podcast on the planet, and everybody knows it. We are inevitable.
100%.